The day we signed the lease for the escape room, the building burned down at our medical facility.
Her business burned. So we were we had to make this work. We had about insurance from the fire and everything was covered about, I think, like 4 months of our build process. And then we had to make it work. It was make or break.
And our son was in college. While he was in college, he worked at an escape room. When he graduated, he came home and said, I think we should open an escape room.
I just needed a part-time job while I was in school, and I worked there for about 2 or 3 months, and I looked at the numbers and I'm like, this is insane. It works out way too well. I love what I'm doing. I'm loving this more than my own schoolwork, and I'm going to get a master's in it, so I feel like I should like that at least a little bit, but I loved it way more. And I ended up just kind of really crunching the numbers. I approached them and I'm like, hey, look at these numbers. This is the kind of turnaround you get on this. I know y'all aren't really happy in the medical industry right now. Things are just getting worse and worse every year. This is something that I think is up and coming, and I think it is gonna be the best thing we could possibly do right now. So we had a lot of my cousins come visit, and we all went and we just played as many rooms as we possibly could to try to decide if this is something we actually want to do. We wanted to get a feel for the industry, understand all the ins and outs on how things work. The main thing that led us to making the decision was ultimately we just had too much fun as a family, and I'm like, this is what we're gonna do. So we decided this is what we're doing. We're gonna start looking for a location. We found a location way faster than I care to admit. It was decent. A lot of places always talk about build it and they'll come. I am of the mindset of build it in a good place and they'll show up regardless.
Everybody who does escape rooms come up with an idea, a theme, and they start building puzzles. Then they go in and start building the room. We did it different. We didn't know any better. We just thought this is the way we should do it. We went in and we said, a good example is Moonshine Cabin. I grew up in Kentucky. I know what cabins look like. I know who moonshiners are. And I know how it should be. So we built an outside with an outhouse, a porch, a livable cabin, and then there were stairs that go down into a shine room. And then we came out and I had Blake go up and lock the door to the cabin. I said, now we begin. How do we get in the cabin?
I didn't take a paycheck for 2 years. Everything else was going back to pay our debts, making sure everything was getting lined up and done accordingly. Long story short, Tampa was not known for having good escape rooms. And we had played rooms in Orlando, we played rooms at a few other places, and we could see that. We played the rooms here and they were not great. And I'm sorry to those people who owned rooms at those times. A lot of them were like someone went to a Goodwill and just bought some locks and threw in a room. Not all of them. There were definitely some diamonds in the rough. And I awesome to those people. I'm sad they're not in business anymore. But life happens. But the biggest thing was we came in swinging. We built a better product at a higher quality for a lower price. And we just took the area by storm.
We strive to make sure every puzzle and everything is operational 100% all the time. Where most escape rooms you go into, there's always something that's broken, not working. And for us, it should never be that way. I mean, if I go into a bank, I expect the teller to be there and working. I expect the vault to be there and working. I expect the ATM to be on and working. So, if I show up and stuff's not working, then I'm probably not coming back to that bank.
So in the very beginning, we did have a lot of customers because people had started doing escape rooms and really loved them. But the growth came probably 8 months later once we got our name out into the community.
We're getting actually a new location, so it'll be our 4th location opening in Tampa proper. So once we get that up and going, I think the next step is probably a 5th location. It probably won't be in Tampa though, so I don't know where that's going to be yet.